friends, welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago, I filmed a makeup on the chopping block, and today I'm going to share with you the findings, what's staying, what's going. I'm really happy that I did this because I made some helpful discoveries that are both eliminating products from my collection and also repurposing and helping me maintain products that I realized are actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first category of products I pulled for this were these 3 lip glosses. Basically, what I was trying to decide was, do I need any of these, what are basically lip topper types of glosses? And what I have realized is no, I do not. I am just somebody who doesn't really gravitate towards clear gloss or glittery gloss to apply on top of any type of lipstick product. I prefer to basically use lipstick almost like a lip liner and then put some kind of colored gloss over it. That's just sort of what I find is my natural perfect combo, shall we say. And I just don't feel like any of these really wowed me on my lips. Like, I don't feel like it was anything that I was like, oh yes girl, you look great. So all 3 of these are being kicked out, which I'm actually pretty happy about because I want to keep just the best of the best glosses, and I don't feel like these are that for my preferences. Next item that I have was the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Pressed Powder in Light 20. I have had this for a super long time, and I just have never gravitated towards using it. I feel like that's the case because I am just somebody who tends to gravitate more towards loose powder versus this type of powder, this pressed powder. There's nothing wrong with this. I tend to find that I did like the look of it on my skin, but I still, when given the choice between this or a loose powder, picked a loose powder. So that tells me that unless I were to force myself to use this, I don't prefer it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spare myself the pain and just get rid of it so I can focus on loose powders. It's not like I'm going through loose powders left and right anyways. If that were the case, I might feel inclined to keep this because I know that eventually I would get to it, but I'm probably set for at least another year before I finish up a loose powder because I don't use a ton of powder on my face when I do apply it. So for that reason, I'm gonna let this go, but I don't necessarily think this is a bad product. Another one-off item that I have is a makeup sponge. So this is the e.l.f., I wanna say Total Face Makeup Sponge. I picked this up just on a whim when I placed an e.l.f. order and then opted to not use it for many months and finally pulled it out. I gotta tell you, it's fully saturated right now with water and it's like a big sponge compared to other ones that I've used. And it has sort of a little bit of a weird texture. It definitely doesn't feel like other sponges I've used before, but I do like it. I have found that it is worth keeping. My one qualm is, I will say, compared to the silicone core sponge that I use from ColourPop, this sucks up a lot of product. I definitely am going through more face product, but to its advantage, that is helping me with some of my more fuller coverage face products not have super heavy looking face products. So it's sort of a balance, like it's a give and take, and I feel like it's giving to me more than it's taking. So I'm definitely gonna keep using this and wearing it out before I pull out another sponge. I don't know if it will usurp my usage of the ColourPop one, but for now, I'm happy with it and I will keep it. Speaking of that sponge, I also wanted to use my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation that I bought pretty shortly after it came out, and it's in the shade 140. Here's my issue with this. It is a little bit dark for me. It oxidizes on my skin, so I've had to mix this with my e.l.f. lightener. Not terrible. When I do that, it works out beautifully. And I will tell you that when I pulled this out on my vanity, it was basically brand new. I'd only used it like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. And now I am down to here on it. So using it on a pretty like everyday basis, it does go pretty quickly. And I am gonna keep this because I do like the coverage decent enough. I don't think I would purchase this again simply because I don't feel like the shade range totally works for me. And I don't wanna have to keep mixing 2 things together and making what's already a higher end type of price point even more costly. But I am happy to say that I will get use out of this. This is one of the older foundations that I have in my collection, so I'm going to try to make it a priority in 2021 to finish it off. That way I can then be free of it and know that I got my money's worth out of it. If they had a color on its own that didn't require any mixing, I would probably purchase it again, but for now, it just isn't checking off enough boxes for how pricey it is. Let's go ahead and talk about the 2 blush products that I have. The first is my Benefit Dandelion blush. Ooh, you guys, this blush is lovely. I feel like this is a more pinkier version of Benefit Rockateur. I think the color of it on my skin is really nice. I think it has a nice sort of lit shade without looking glittery, which I really appreciate. So this puppy is happily back in the collection. I will definitely make it a point to use her more often, and I definitely could see myself panning this in the future because I really did love it and had to kind of stop myself once I decided that I did like it, stop myself from using it. On the flip side, I have my Julep Glow Pore Minimizing Blush in Peach Bellini. You guys, I used to love this blush, but I gotta tell you, ever since I repressed it, I don't know what happened, but I feel like it is way more noticeably glittery. And we all know I do not like any type of product on my face aside from my eyes that has like craft glitter weaved through it. That is not how I want to look sort of glowy or lit. I want that to happen with more of a sheen and less of a like glitter vibe, and this has just got glitter all up in it, so it cannot live anymore in my blush collection, and my preferences have just swung very, very far away from what used to be what I thought my favorite blush. Last up are my highlighters, and this category is what made the video harder for me to get around to filming because I hadn't yet reckoned with all of my highlighters. I had to really force myself to go through it, and now I have decisions on all of them. First up is my Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Foil Sandcastle Highlighter. You guys, this for my face, no. This is just not a good match for my skin tone, but as an eyeshadow, good lord, this is amazing. So she gets to stay in my collection, but she's going into my single eyeshadow, like ones I haven't dismantled and put into my black palette single eyeshadow category, because I love this on my eyes. It paired really well with some of my cooler tones, so she's lovely, she can stay, but not as a highlighter. I also was pleasantly surprised to find that the Becca Vanilla Quartz, I really like it on my skin. I think for me, I struggle to use it because it's like a pale gold, and I tend to not gravitate towards pale gold when I do an eye look. In my mind, I've built it up to not be cohesive, but it is. So I just need to bring it into the rotation a bit more, and I think I will definitely get a lot more use out of it. It totally isn't why I bought it. It did not check off the like pale, really, really icy white type of highlighter that I had wanted, but it is good and it is worthy of staying in the collection. I also focused on my 3 Jouer highlighters. The first is Citrine. This one, I really, really like this. I, again, don't feel like I gravitate towards it enough because it's not like gold. It's a little bit more of a paler gold, which is actually really good for my complexion. So I need to like stop casting these out and going for more of those like truer golds, like the one I have from Lancome. Like this is gorgeous, and it does align with a lot of the types of eye looks that I tend to go for when I go with more of a like brownie, goldy type of look. So it definitely has a place in my collection, and I do want to in fact keep it. However, before you go thinking I'm keeping all of my highlighters, it pains me, but I am parting with 2 of my Jouer highlighters. I am parting with Topaz, which looks like this, and I am parting with Skinny Dip, which looks like this. Here's why. I find that while I like these on my skin tone, and I think that they are pretty, I never gravitate towards them. And I don't think that I will force myself continually to gravitate towards them. The reason that is because anytime I do more of a like bronzy or gold type of eye look, I tend to go naturally with a golden type of highlight. And I just really like the look of that. This, I don't naturally come towards either one of these more bronzy type of colors, and I don't see myself with all the highlighters that I have casting out my gold ones and prioritizing these instead. So I would rather part with these and just be able to really hone in on those golds and love those golds, because that is just naturally what I want. So even though formula is great, the pigmentation and the tone and the shine is great, I have to make a tough call and just say goodbye to them, because I really, like, it was these 2 that really prolonged this video because I kept not using them. I kept being like, oh yeah, I should go for those, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull me a gold. Like, I couldn't get myself to use them, and so that should tell me that they're not worthy or not loved enough to stay in my collection. So there it is. I am keeping 5 items, casting out the rest. I feel really good about this. I feel like I definitely was able to scrutinize a little bit more my highlighter and blush collections, which are the 2 most concerning collections for me. I'm feeling really good about this and hoping that in the new year, I'll be able to take some of these and have really strong progress, if not using them up completely. So I hope that you guys enjoy getting my follow-up thoughts on these, and I look forward to talking with you in my next video real soon.